Hello everybody, it's Tanya and welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be sweet and short because I'm going to share with you 5 of the books which I am determined to read in February. For this year I have a new agenda for myself. Agenda for myself for this year is to be determined, like set a plan and follow the plan and be determined and disregard your feelings, just set a plan and follow it. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to set myself a plan of books for each year, an attainable plan. So you know, that's why 5 books. Just 5, like I kind of like a book a week, and maybe one kind of running through the week. So I feel like 5 books is an attainable plan, and follow it. So disregard your feelings of like, oh, not feeling like it. Disregard it and you just pick it up and read it and stop not feeling like it. So yes, that's my plan for this year. And with no further ado, let's begin with the books. Continuing the topic of my previous video, which I will link up here, I read a great book. It's actually right here, in case you haven't seen that video. Yeah, it's this book, The City and the Mountains by Essa de Queiroz. I am in love. This is a true love. This is a true love. This book is a true love for me. So continuing the topic of this book, which if you haven't watched the review, you should watch, because you should read the book. It's a great book, you have to read it. But continuing the topic, this is the next book I'm going to read. This is All Creatures Great and Small by James Herriot. I know that you know about this book. And I assume that probably a lot of you have already read it. Now I'm going to join in your group of people who have already read it because I actually found this book on a Russian booktube channel. I was watching a Russian booktuber and she read this book in Russian and she loved it. She just adored this book. And this lady and me, we have very similar kind of tastes in books, so I always trust her recommendations. And yeah, she recommended it and she was like, it's a great book. And I'm like, okay, sounds right up my alley, and I ordered it. Apparently, for those of you who don't know if such people exist, because it's a very popular book, apparently it's about this young veterinarian doctor who graduates from college after the Second World War. And at that period, in Great Britain, it was very difficult to find a job as a vet. There was no real workplaces for this type of professionals, and he gets very lucky. He becomes an apprentice to a veterinarian doctor in some English village, and he goes to work there. And apparently it's something about living in the village, working with animals, creatures great and small. So it's about animals, but also about farmers with whom he was working, who are apparently very simple people who don't want to pay money, for example, and he has to wriggle the money out of them whenever he does a service for them. But then when they come together, for example, in a pub, and they start talking, they learn that both of them are great people. Both of them are great fellas, the veterinarian and the farmer, and they become great friends until the next time the veterinarian provides service for the farmer, and then again he has to wiggle the money out of him. So apparently it's about this, you know, just human relationship in a village, but also relationship with animals and being a young professional. The way that booktuber described this book, it sounded very funny, and it sounded also very heartwarming and just very uplifting in a way, but also very true to life, very true to people, not idealizing anybody, not, you know, portraying an ideal paradise of a village, you know, just painting a true portrait of an English village of the period. So it just sounded really interesting and just right up my alley, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read it. And also it's a whole series, so if I enjoy the first book, I will continue with the rest of the series. But yeah, this is the first book for February. My second book for February is going to be in the same theme. I feel like you can name the month of February for me. You can title it Coming Back to the Roots. Because if you look at these books, majority of them are about coming back to your roots. So this is this beautiful edition. This is Diary of a Provincial Lady by E.M. Delafield. Know nothing about this book, so I only know what the title says. Apparently it is something about a provincial lady living in a province. That's all I can that's all I can tell you. Okay, there is a blurb. I didn't know there is a blurb, and we talk about, no, it's an example of the book, it's not a blurb. And then the other blurb is about the author. So no, I still don't know what the book is about. I bought it because again I watched somebody on YouTube a long time ago, and they recommended this book and said that it's very funny. It's also a pure joy, and it's very humorous. There is tons of funny situations in the life of this provincial lady. She is apparently very sarcastic. She apparently has a good way with words. So I expect this book to be funny, I expect this book to be entertaining, but also maybe a little bit romantic. I mean, romantic in a sense, you know, of like living in a small town surrounded by people you know, maybe by your family. You know, I expect it to be something about something very family oriented and something very much like simple living oriented. That's what I expect. I might be wrong because I really don't know anything about the book, but hopefully at least I will enjoy it. And I have this beautiful Persephone Classics edition. It's my only Persephone Classics edition, and I love it. I know that everybody loves it, and I'm right there with you. I love it too. I think I like how simple it is. A Diary of a Provincial Lady. Then my third book is The Yacubian Building by Ala Al-Aswani. This is by an Egyptian author, and I hope that this book will provide me a trip to Egypt, because I would really love to visit that country and I have never been able to as of yet. So hopefully one day I will be able to go there and visit all the museums and visit all the pyramids and visit Nile and everything. Hopefully one day I will be able to go there. But currently I hope that this book will provide me with an opportunity, with a taste, with a taste of the unique culture that Egypt has. I would really love to visit Egypt one day. Let me know in the comments, what is one city you would most like to visit? Let me know. I feel like for me it's very hard to choose just one, but Egypt and Cairo would be like one of those places. It would be right up there somewhere, because currently I cannot afford to go there. At least I will read books about those places. And the Yacubian Building is a portrait of a nation through a portrait of a building, if you know what I mean. It's like in this building live different Egyptian families, and they come from different stratas of Egyptian society, and through their lives we see life of a whole nation. That's kind of what I expect from this book, and I expect it to be really interesting. It's also a very respected book, very very well-known novel, and I've had it for quite a while, and I have a really strong feeling that I'm going to really like it. So yeah, the Yacubian Building. I'm looking forward to it very much. And then this is probably one of the oldest books on my TBR. I've had it almost since the very start I started this channel. I've had it for a while, and I have always been wanting to read it, and I never got to it. Like it goes for many books. It goes for very many books on my shelves. That's why I stopped buying books. Like I actually stopped. The most recent book, the only one recent book that I bought, like I mean a novel. I do buy books for learning Japanese, but like a novel, the last book that I bought was 1984. You will understand why in a second. But yeah, I kind of stopped buying books in big quantities because I figured I have very many and majority of them are not read, and I'm like, Tatiana, you have enough books to read, you have enough, read this first and then buy the rest. I kind of stopped for now, and I'm looking at the books I already have, and I have a lot, and all of them are calling my name, and all of them are calling my name because I really do want to read like all of them. So yeah, and this is one of the oldest, The Ceremony by Leslie Marmon Silka. Something about Native Americans, and it's about this man who comes from war, and he's of course scarred not only, you mean, on the body, but also emotionally very scarred, and he comes back to his village, to his Native American village. From what I remember, I guess people in the village and just this traditional life of the village kind of heals him. That's what I remember about this book. I might be very wrong. That's what I remember about the synopsis, but I feel like it's going to be a book about healing and about emotional healing, how coming back to your roots, coming back to traditional lifestyle of maybe your family or maybe your town, can actually do heal your soul and heal scars of people's souls. So I expect it to be very hopeful and very healing, and you know, just a book for the heart, a book for the heart. That's what I expect this book to be. And yeah, I'm getting to it this February. I'm getting to it this February. And the last book, you will love. You are going to love. I think you're going to love. But so I don't even know how to tell it. So basically, recently I've been, okay, it's just this book. It's this book. It's The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab. Those who know. Those who don't know, how shall I explain it? So everything started with this Russian history professor. I listened to his lecture on Decembrists. So in Russian history, in the beginning of the 19th century, we had this social movement, kind of, Decembrists, Декабристы. And in school, we kind of learned them that they were these good people who just wanted to make their peasants free, because in Russia at that time, there were also different stratus of society, and the lowest one were peasants who were basically other people's property. So slaves, actually, they actually belonged to the dворянство, to dворяне. They were living on their land, they were working on their land, and they belonged to them. And so Decembrists, the way we learned about them in school, was taught us that they were these great people who just wanted to free their slaves, and to, you know, make Russia a progressive country, and to, you know, make Russia a republic. But when I was listening to this history professor's lecture, his lecture was actually very educational and quite eye-opening. He said that, like, thinking an owner of slaves would just want to free them because he's a very good person is a very naive way to think about it. He might be a good person, but you should always look for an economic interest. And so he goes into detail about, like, this Decembrists movement, how it appeared, and kind of what caused it. And so yeah, I was really impressed with this lecture. It was really interesting to listen to, and I started listening to his other lectures. And in his other lectures, he talks about history of the 20th century and also about our modern days and what is going on in the world. And he connects it all together, and he shows the whole historical movement, and he explains everything that is going on. And I have to say, he is very convincing. For people who, like, don't listen to him, for example, I sent his lectures to my brother. My brother is the most skeptical person you can ever find on this planet. He's like, Tanya. But yeah, my brother is very skeptical about it. But I agree, like, if you don't listen to the lecture, it does sound like a conspiracy theory. If you have heard anything about World Economic Forum, if you have heard anything about Klaus Schwab, which I think a lot of people have already heard. So, and yeah, that professor is kind of saying that these people ultra globalists and what they plan for us, and apparently they don't plan anything good for us, and I got very scared. And he says that everything is in books, just read. Klaus Schwab writes everything that he plans for you. Just read his books. I'm gonna read because I'm scared. I don't know what to expect, what to prepare for, and apparently the man has prepared not many exciting things for us. He hasn't prepared anything exciting for us, but at the same time I also understand that I am very impressionable. Is that the word? I'm very impressionable. It's like you just tell me something and I'm like, oh. I'm very emotional, so I tend to overreact. I become easily scared, I become easily agitated. So, you know, maybe it's just it's just me overreacting. I don't know. If you know anything about that, let me know in the comments what you think about World Economic Forum. Do you believe in like this globalist agenda? Do you think it's a conspiracy theory, or do you think it rings the truth? I don't know. Let me know. To me, the way this history professor explains it, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, and he sounds very convincing. So I thought, okay, I will not just rely on one person's, actually not one, there is a lot of people who believe the same way, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to also read his books. I'm gonna see what the man writes himself in his books. So this is the first book I'm going to read by him, The Great Reset. I don't know what to expect. I mean, of course there's going to be a lot of sugarcoating, right? Of course, if you want to do something terrible, you're going to sugarcoat it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe I'm just being like, you know, very emotional. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, because I'm so curious. Like, what do other people think about Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, and their agenda? What do you think about digital money? What do you think about kind of the social score system? I'm scared. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to read this book. I'm not going to be very scared until I have read this book. These are the 5 books which I will be reading in February. I'm going to be determined. I'm going to disregard my feelings. I'm going to follow my plan. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you are reading in February. What are your plans for this month? Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about World Economic Forum, because I'm scared. I'm like genuinely scared. Okay, I really hope you're staying safe. I hope everything is good. I hope you're reading good books and enjoying them. And I will see you soon in my next videos. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.